So we kind of touched on it the last time when you said City in Ruins is going to be the last one. Why is this the last one?
A couple of things. One, it's time. This book took me 30 years to write.
Did you say 30?
30, 30. Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes me kind of a slacker,
Right.
But I was doing a few other things at the time, like 20-something other books.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was coming around the home stretch of this book and knowing it was about to end and this trilogy, this 30-year thing was about to end, I began to think, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to try to sort of exit the stage gracefully and make room for other people, younger people who are coming up, of whom there are a lot of talented folks. And then also things that are happening in the country that I feel need a more immediate response than you can give in the form of narrative fiction. So when those two things came together, I kind of thought, maybe time to pull the pin.
You're talking about the films that you're putting out there on social media, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Putting together, talking about what's going on in our country.
What's going on, yeah.
Right. So that's what you're, and so you mentioned give some younger authors a shot, if you will. It took a while for you to catch fire, right?
Oh, yeah.
How long did
that was a slow burning fire, man. It was a lot of kindling.
Right.
I was a overnight success in my 50s. And so, which is kind of a long night, Rich, kind of Arctic kind of night.
So how long were you at it?
Oh, a long time, man. I think my first book came out in 91, and that took me 3.5 years to write and was turned down by 15 publishers, including the one I'm with now. Which
No kidding.
I love to remind them of that. That's really fun, But I was caught in that kind of publishing spin cycle for years, where the publishers would say, well, we're not going to print a lot of books because you're not a best-selling author.
They would legitimately say that to you.
Literally say that. But then you try to point out, but I can't sell books you don't print. Right? And so you're in that cycle, and it's very, very hard to break out of that.
So what broke through for you, do you think?
New agent, great agent, Shane Salerno. He and I are old buddies. I was his first client. He's a actually famous screenwriter. Wrote little movies like Armageddon and the sequels to Avatar, little indie films.
I've heard.
And
I've heard of those films.
You've heard of those films?
Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, and so we'd been buddies for a while, and we'd talk, and he'd give me advice and things, and finally said, do you want to just do this? Why don't I rep you? And I went, yeah, okay, why not? We've never had a contract.
Ever.
And I would call it a handshake deal, except I don't think we ever actually shook hands.
So it was just, hey, do you want to do this? You're like, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then, so what do you do? Just get your book in front of other publishers that ordinarily you couldn't have?
He went back to publishers and said, look, here's the deal. You either support this guy, print the books, or I go to a different publisher. And he went to filmmakers and who had been optioning my stuff for a long time and then never making the movies.
Right.
I felt like a farm that other people were harvesting and making more money than I was. Right. And he went to them and said, no. You buy the movie, we make the movie within 18 months. That became a movie called Savages. And at the same time, I did a book called The Cartel. The cartel's about the Mexican drug cartels. And one day after the book came out, Chapo Guzman escaped from prison. People literally accused my agent of arranging that escape.
That means you have a good agent.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah,
that people think that he could actually break Chapo out,
digging the tunnels,
to try and support your sales.
Yeah. My publisher literally accused him of that. So that's what turned it around.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And so, did you see American Fiction? Did you see that?
Yeah.
What did you think of that movie?
Great stuff. Listen, I'd watch Jeffrey Wright read, as they say, read the phone book.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it an accurate portrayal of the publishing community, would you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Not that they'd buy they'd buy one of your books if you want to rename it just the F word or something like that. That was a laugh out loud scene in the film.
It was a laugh out loud scene. I've had my books renamed. I did a book called Isle of Joy, and the publisher didn't like that. So it's actually a famous last lyric of a famous Cole Porter tune, Manhattan. So it became A Winter Spy. But I said, well, it's not going to be A Winter Spy by Don Winslow. If you're going to change the name of the title, change my name with it. you know.
And so what happened?
I had a short stay at that publishing company. But the book everywhere in the world is called Isle of Joy by Don Winslow, except here in the United States, it's A Winter Spy by MacDonald Lloyd. And when people bring the book up, I don't know how to sign it. You know, do you want it with that name or my name or whatever?
Did you come up with MacDonald Lloyd?
I did.
Where does that come from?
My dad's name was Donald. His dad's name was Lloyd. Mac in Gaelic means son of, so son of Donald Lloyd.
Wow, very clever.
Very good.
Very clever, huh?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.